on. All right, how's it going? My name is IPA Fan. This is Chug, and we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. Today's beer is a lager chug. So go ahead, Ice Queen.
I had this one for a while now, but it was still good. It's McKellar, and it's called Diamond Leaves.
Cool.
It's a lager with white grape juice, key lime, and guava.
Cool. Henry?
The Symptomist here. I'm going to do this Integrin Edo Pils, German style lager.
Nice. Al?
What up, Beer Lover here. I'm going to be drinking a local brewery, Golden Ratio. It is from Lock City. It is 5.3% with straight up Mandarina Bavaria hops.
Nice. Ricky?
What's up, guys? Ricky with the Good Beer here. I'm going to be drinking a EGVS lager number 1 out of Queens or Brooklyn, New York.
Nice. Jay Hunt?
Witness here. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I don't have a lager, but I'm drinking this Love Juice hazy IPA.
That works.
Chugging.
Dedication right there. Gordy?
Gordy Drinks Craft. I'll be drinking just different in person with a Green Cheek collab with Other Half. It's a Munich style lager, 5.3%.
Cool. And I got Yard Beer, which I think is perfect name for a light lager because it's one of the few beers that you could actually do yard work with and drink. It's from Double Shift out of KC. All right. So Ricky, you're in the center and you're in the bathroom. So how about you count us down, man?
All right, guys. Glasses up. 3, 2, 1. Cheers.
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 Oh, that was heavy.
That was smooth.
Yeah.
Bye, church. Love y'all.
You members are going to leave right now?
Stay wet, man. Don't dry up.
All right, ladies and
Say
gentlemen,
yeah.
I'm going to go enjoy this concert.
See you guys.
later.
All right, man.
Ooh.
Okay.
So we decide a topic? I think we had a couple of ideas.
Tentatively, the original topic was self-pouring places, which I definitely say we could talk about. And we kind of have some backup ones just in case, but we'll see how the self-pouring ones go. So for those of you who don't know, not sure if this is all over the country or just California, they have self-pouring spots where you could literally go up to a tab and pour yourself a beer. I'll leave it open to anybody who wants to go a little bit more detail of where they've been and how that worked out. So yeah, anybody?
Well, I kind of do think it is a California thing. I don't see anything here in the East Coast, but when I was in Vegas on the one time that I decided to get on a plane, we stayed, I believe, the Cosmopolitan it was called, and you could just take a credit card, swipe it, and out comes your beer out of a wall. It was probably the most beautiful thing and the most dangerous thing I've ever seen because, you could just stand there all day long and just start, swiping your card and out comes 16 beautiful ounces of beer. So yeah, it is a very much a West Coast thing. It's not happening here yet. Hopefully it'll happen soon.
Sam or Gordy, do you guys have any personal experience? Because Sam, the only one I really loved was in San Diego area.
Yeah, we have a few down here in different areas. I've noticed a lot of the pizza places,
Sorry.
that has the system inside. And I did a little bit of research for today. There's different kinds of setups. The pizza ones, they usually get a bracelet. They get carded first, and you put your card on file, and then you can go around. But the ones that are just like pure bar, like pour it bar, those usually you get your card and there's like a kiosk type situation. I think the thing at Vegas probably is different. Down here in San Diego, you do have limits. I believe it's 32 ounces before they have to recheck your ID and scan it in the system again, because part of the bartender's job is to make sure people aren't drinking way too much And that's how they keep that under control. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I've been to a Pickle Monk in Fullerton, and I know they opened up a new place called Stephen Barrel. Same thing, right across the street. And you get just swipe your card and you just use your wrist with a little magnet, and it tells you. But there where I go, you have choices from 3 different glasses. So you get up to a 24-ounce pour. So I think it was 12, 16, and then 24.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool.
Henry, what's your experience?
I actually don't have any experience going to any place like that. The only experience that I have is with wine, a place in Santa Monica that kind of does the same thing, but with craft beer. That's out of my topic area, to be honest.
So you could just tell us what you think about it. I will just give a little background on my personal experience. I've been to a few pizza places, Sam, similar to what you explained. My favorite one, though, by far is not a pizza place. It's just a craft beer bar. It's called Bear Republic or Barrel Republic. And I can't for the life of me remember. I think it's Ocean Beach. The place is pretty darn big. I think they have about 30 to 50 beers and seltzers and whatnot on tap. And once again, just like Gordy and Sam were saying, it's attached to some type of bracelet that you have connected to your wrist that's connected to your credit card. And you can pour as little as half an ounce of a beer or as much as, 24 ounce of a beer. But once you hit a certain limit, like they were saying, then you have to go to the bartender and make sure that you basically can look them in the eye, and then they will refresh your card and you can do another 24 ounces. Another great thing about those places is they actually have pictures of the recommended glass that they recommend you taste with. And there's so many different types of beer. Personally, I don't like to ask, even for a taster of beer that I'm like, this isn't my type. I really don't want a 3 or 4 or 5 ounce taster of, some goes or goose or gauze or whatever they call it. Gauze
or a Pilsner.
Yeah, that exactly, Gordy. That I'm not going to want to drink at all, honestly. But at least there, I'm like, let me get 2 ounces, and I'm like, damn, this is great. Personally, I found I forgot what it was, but it was a cucumber. It was so amazing that I could literally have drank a 6-pack in a minute. And found it delicious, but I would have never even bothered to try it at most places.
But are these beers actually the ones that you're getting out of the wall? Are they like good beers? Because the one that I had,
yeah, they're craft beer.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The place.
Breweries.
Yeah, the place I went to in Orange. There's another place out here in Orange County. It's called The Wall, and they have 50
nice
beer taps.
Nice.
So you have a huge variety, and actually their burgers are really good. So if you guys want to go there, it's a good spot to go.
The Wall.
I will say when it comes to prices though, going to the brewery is gonna probably be somewhat cheaper from what I've noticed. They're selling things for anywhere from 40 to 50 cents an ounce sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, that's still, if you're drinking an 8-ounce beer, it's about the same. But I did notice, if you go to a brewery and you say, I would like to try that, they'll just give it to you and let you try it, not paying for that 1 ounce that they give you. So that part is different. But I did like the fact that you get the read up, you get all of the ABV, the IBUs, everything. There's the tasting notes with it, so that you have something to read, because you don't necessarily see that all the time at the breweries.
Yeah, and as sad as it is, because I know Al's gonna throw a conniption fit about this. Some beer tenders actually don't know anything about the beer other than oh, people like this one, people like that one. Calm down now, calm down. But yeah, at least Sam, absolutely right. They have a list of exactly, what it pairs with, notes that you should be looking for, glass, like I said earlier, ABV, all that. It's pretty great. Personally, Al, honestly, where I've lost my shit is when I ask what type of hops are in it, and they're like, I don't know. Let me see if I can find somebody. And I'm like,
yeah, that's definitely when you go to those places, they're not very well educated on what's on tap. So you're pretty much better either going on Untap, or I think there was another app that Al uses that could probably give you the little info on the beer.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as saying that they're uneducated. I'm sure they have some knowledge, but when you have 10, 15 different taps, it's really hard to keep track of all of what is going on in a single. I mean, if you have 3 taps to manage and there's a Pilsner, a Stout, an IPA, you can really kind of break down, okay, this has this has that, and this has the other. But when you have like 10, 15, 20 taps, there's a lot to remember for each beer. And, going back to like what I was saying about a single hop beer, it makes it much easier to know if it's just 1 hop as opposed to like 3 or 4 hops. And it's a lot to have to remember actually. But a beer tender should know, especially if it's a brewery and they're brewing their beer, they should know what they're talking about and what they're offering up.
Definitely. As a beer tender at a brewery, I think if you have under 10 beers, you should know exactly what's in every single one. Like you walk in, you read the list, and worst comes to worst, there should be literally a list that tells you exactly what's in what, or else you don't give a shit about kind of beer you're making, in my opinion. But
Right.
it's just me.
Yeah.
Quick break. Let's go to introduce our cruiser beer because I don't think we've done that yet. Sam, what do you got?
You guys know I recently went back home, so I ended up getting a few beers from Hudson Valley. So
That's my shit.
Chorus from Hudson Valley Brewery, and it's a sour IPA. It does have lactose in it. Wet would have been like, oh no, but yeah. I don't know what the ABV is on it though. It's not noted, so I'd have to look it up.
Cool. Henry?
Actually skipping out on the cruiser beer because this was my last beer that I had at my mom's house. So, yep.
My heart goes out to you, brother. Al, what do you got?
Actually, I'm drinking a beer that I got on a trade. This is from Red Rock in Utah, Red Rock Brewing. It is a Belgium style triple ale. It's 11%. I just dropped a review on it. I enjoyed it so much that I just wrote my review right then and there. And I decided against having anything other than the Chug beer because this thing is kicking my ass and it is a really great tasting Belgium. It's probably one of the best Belgiums I've had. So I'm just, staying with this one.
Nice. Cordy?
I got a Cooks en Route by Humble Sea and Hop Dogma. It's a West Coast Pilsner with dry hop with Strata, Cashmere, and 2 other hops that I don't know how to pronounce. So I'm sorry for that. But yes, Hop Dogma is super solid out in Half Moon Bay area. They had a cucumber goose one time that was amazing. So
Nice.
You guys are out there, try it out.
I went with the as basic white girl as you can and went with a frosé. This is Pacific Coast Highway. I had this one a couple months ago and I really liked it. Glad they came back with it. And it's literally, just some juice drinking. Not really big, but it's good.
As a side note, I think an episode can just be dedicated to the pronunciation of goose, gosa, goes. Like I've heard so many variations of how that word is pronounced. I don't think anybody knows what.
Maybe you know how to pronounce those hops at the bottom. I think it's a little blurry.
Yeah, it's blurry.
Yeah,
it's probably like what, Equinot or something, like something that's.
No, it's Hallertau.
Oh, Hallertau.
Hallertau Blanc.
Okay, Hallertau.
Hallertau.
And there's Mittelfra. And Hallertau Blanc.
Hallertau Blanc is the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hallertau is a German. I believe Henry, correct me. I think it's a German hop.
It's a German
hop. Yeah, it's
delicious. I like it.
I personally know that every bartender, not necessarily a beer tender that I've run into, always says gose. But
yes.
But the guy who I know who like really emphasized it, his name was Jose, so it might just been a coffee thing. Just I don't know.
Jose, can I have a gose? Yeah.
Say that 3 times pretty fast.
So let's get back into it. Henry, since you haven't had any direct connection or experience in those, what do you think about the idea of what we were talking about, like the setup, at least me, Sam, and Gordy were talking about?
Well, I know when it first started, it was all based on the honor system.
Nice.
Right. When these places are actually starting. I mean, I know that much. And I think from there it moved on to, getting a wristband and having your credit card on file, because I think people were either over pouring or, skipping hours. But I think it's probably regulated that way. I mean, I think it's a good idea, where you don't have to, especially if you go to the little kiosk and it tells you everything that you need to know about the beer. I mean, you don't have to bother someone and tell, hey, what's the hops in here? So I think it's a good idea. And there should be more places, hopefully opening up around the country. But I think it is a West Coast thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would imagine anybody who is going to get into tapping their own beer knows the beer. I wouldn't imagine somebody who's like an MGD light drinker would just go up there like, oh, what do I want? No, somebody who knows about beer is typically somebody who's going to tap those beers. And I know those beers, those taps, they're on a timer. So if you tell it what glass that you're using, if it's an 8 ounce glass, it's only going to pour 8 ounces. It's only going to pour 16. It's only going to pour 32 or around 24 ounces. It's on a timer, so it shuts itself off. But I also do know that there's certain hotels like Brewdog. I'm sure you all know Brewdog has a hotel, and they're actually taps inside your room where you can just wipe your card.
I want to go so bad.
Yeah.
You know what? So do I, because you know what? They actually have beer baths. They have spent beer that you can actually funnel into your bath, and you can just have a beer bath.
Al, me and you.
Oh, listen, maybe I
Let's
can blow
do it.
bubbles in a bath with you, man. I can rub your back. Listen to you, sure.
Just
We can listen to it,
IPA me.
Oh yeah,
It'll be good.
you can IPA me all over me if you want.
I mean, they even have refrigerators. They have refrigerators while you're taking a shower to pull out a beer.
Shower
and drink
beer.
it, like
Shower
a shower.
beers are the
Awesome.
best, dude.
So
Sounds like a good idea to me.
So it is not only a West Coast. I was gonna say this earlier. It might not be New York, New Jersey. They're kind of strict in New York, New Jersey areas. Even Pennsylvania, they can get weird with alcohol. But if you go south of Maryland and you cross the Dixie line, they do it in South
The Mason-Dixie line.
South Carolina. I think North Carolina does it too. They'll do it there, but I'm not sure about Florida, but I'm pretty sure probably.
okay.
I think I like the idea for going back to Al's point. People like to try a bunch of different beers and know their beers. I wouldn't really like it for a brewery per se. I kind of like the idea of like not getting to know a beer tender, but the beer tender knowing so much that they're like, here's a little splash of this. You kind of liked it? All right, try this. Instead of wasting your time reading 40 different taps, trying to figure out what you might like the most. Beer tenders, I mean, they're one of the most underrated thing there is when it comes to craft beer, period.
I have gone to a location where the beers were not as good.
Mhm.
Like I've had most of them, and I'm like, then my selection just shrunk really big. So
You're becoming a true snob, Gordy.
no. Our boy Wetness has become a true snob.
Well, you know what? It's because of you. So my problem.
I will say, I've been there too, and I think it's not being a snob 100%. It is a bit, but you go there to experience new beers, and if you've experienced 90% of the beers, you're like, shit, why didn't I just go to a bar? Cheaper, straightforward.
Right.
So
I think when they're in restaurant scenes, because the setups that I've seen, sometimes they have wine and beer, but I feel like especially some women, they might feel more secure in picking it out on their own, reading it their own, and reading the taste notes, and not having to deal with someone at a bar telling you, oh, you'll like this, and picking things on, they don't really know them.
Well, that's the bar experience, because when you go to a brewery, it's a totally experience. Because at the brewery, it could be a female trying to sell you a beer.
Yeah.
But I don't think necessarily they're always trying to find out what you like. Sometimes at breweries, even they just want to get rid of what they have on tap too. Like if they're trying to sell, they'll tell them, hey, try to push this today so that we can clear this tap out. I know they will.
crazy.
Yeah,
I did not
that's
know
true.
that at all. Dang.
Yeah.
No, if the keg is going to kick out soon and they know it,
They'll try to push that beer.
they're going to push that beer out. Yeah. It's getting old. They want to kick out the keg. They want to retap something else.
Dude, here I thought I was special every time the keg blew out on me.
You're getting the
schooling you. They were schooling you.
No, but actually, Sam, you kind of like alluded to it right there. I think one of the possible negative signs when you go to a self tapping place is when you show up at, let's say, 8 or 9 o'clock and there's 100 people and 50 taps and somebody's like, let me read every single one, you're just like, Jesus Christ, can I get a beer already? That's
Yeah.
got to be one of the frustrating sides, at least, you know?
It would be frustrating, like around, like on the East Coast, we have oh god, I think it's called Arizona beer. I forgot what the hell it's called, but like they have 50 taps. They have probably 100 different beers, you know, in the refrigerator. If you don't know what their selection is, you're going to sit there for a good 15, 20 minutes just going over like, what the hell, what do I do? How do I drink? I mean, it takes a person who, like us, who knows beer and what we like in beer to just go in there and like, okay, I know what I want. I can select it. Get a newbie in there. They're going to sit there with the thumb up their ass. I'm like, okay, can I have a Budweiser? And that's it, you know? Sedona, that's the. Do you guys have Sedona out there?
No.
No, we have Sedona County.
Yeah, we have Sedona Tap House here. It's just a huge beer place. So,
Kind of going off that, Al, but a side note, I went to Budweiser, St. Louis. There was a couple in front of me who were trying to figure out what beer they wanted to order. There's 8 fucking beers on tap, and I guarantee you've had them everywhere in your life.
Did you say don't have any?
The couple was literally staring, trying to figure out the beer for freaking ever. And the bartender was looking at me just like, Jesus Christ. She started laughing. And then she pointed at me because I was next. And I was like, I'll go Budweiser. She ignored the couple, went over, poured my beer. And I was like, okay, how much? And she looked at the couple and she's like, don't worry about it. And I was like, yes, I appreciate that. So I gave her like a $10 tip or something. But
Victory.
absolutely.
the point is like, screw those people.
If it's only 8 beers, I mean, really, that you've like really narrowed it down. 8 beers. I mean, out of those 8 beers, you're probably looking at 3, 4 different styles. You can narrow all that shit down. It's either going to be a lager, porter, IPA, or a pilsner. You're going to get one of those.
Was there an amber bock?
Probably. But it's literally Budweiser. They have like Bud Light, Budweiser, Budweiser Select, Elysian,
Bud Light Platinum.
Kona, Bud Light Platinum. Like I named 6 of them without even thinking. You've seen these beers every fucking where, dude. You should know your beer, or at least be like, I'll go with this or that, or let me try something new.
I know we're pushing Budweiser, but I think there's even a Budweiser Zero now.
Yes,
it's non-alcoholic.
There might be.
Yeah. Okay, enough Budweiser. Throw them out the window.
Even less flavor to be had. Why not?
One thing I did find interesting about those like these systems that they're setting up, because it's like a big deal. Someone has to come in and install it, and like with big places like Budweiser, they got the money to do that. But the little guys, these little pizza joints, are putting these in because they're having a hard time actually having the restaurant stay open and do business.
Maybe they should have better pizza.
Yeah, I mean, well, they said that it's about 65 to 80,000 to put one of those systems in.
Damn.
And the way when people hear that it's there, like their sales went through the roof.
Nice.
And
that's
the
awesome.
food started. So people are kind of doing it to save their businesses and get more people in there. And
so they're getting a buzz and they're enjoying shitty food.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm assuming pizza.
See, what I would like to know is how long are those kegs actually sitting? What the turnaround rate is?
That's the other thing I was thinking about.
Don't ask, Henry. Do not ask. No.
If you're getting a special, you know that shit's fucking out the window.
Well, yeah, of course.
I mean, when we just go to bottle shops, we have to dust off beers that are on the shelves, and people are still buying it. Like, I think how many people don't realize like this stuff is so old? Like, I wouldn't buy it, but we know.
Total Wine.
There's so many other people that don't know better. They'll just buy whatever's on the shelf, you know. So.
Right. And not many people, or no, people who don't drink craft don't look at dates. No. They're like, oh, let me just pull it off the shelf, thinking it's like a fresh. No. I look at my dates, and as of recently, I've seen that there's no dates on cans any longer.
Yes,
I've noticed it a lot lately, and I'm up picking up.
See a date. Look at when
even if I trade or share a beer, I want that shit to be so fresh. Like I feel bad sharing like a 3-month beer. I'm like, oh, this is disgusting. No, but it's good, but it's not as good as it used to be.
I've come to the conclusion that if it's more than 3 months, no, it's a shitty trade. But 3 months, I've had beers that were 3 months out and they were still pretty good. So I have to give 3 months the cutoff. After 3 months, no.
Yeah, 3 months is the cutoff for me too.
I've had 5-6 month old beers. I'm like, what the fuck I don't even drink it. It's not even fair to me. I mean, I'm giving you things that are like weeks old and you're giving me like months old. So
I'm more going off of trades because previous to trades, just anything I drink local was different. But going off trades, I feel like anything, or the darker it is, the more likely it is to stay okay towards a 3 month. The lighter it is, like you want that tomorrow. You know what I mean? And you can't mess with too dark. But I will say, in an awful trade I just did, somebody sent me something after they had warned me. They're like, "Hey, do you want to do this trade?" And I was like, "Yes, let's absolutely do it." And things just got convoluted and we forgot to do it. Then he sent me some sours, I think about like a month and a half later. One of them you could literally chew.
No,
I
no
am not
chunky
kidding, dude.
beers,
I
no floaters.
dude, that was so bad.
it's like tomato paste. It's like,
Oh my God,
No.
dude. It was
let me
No.
chug this beer, man. Let me like
Yeah.
let me get it down.
almost got
That's
a
an
spoon
absolute
out
no-no.
and shit.
But back to the pouring things, I know Washington is starting to take the same scene, so it's moving up the West Coast for sure. So hopefully we'll see it. I don't know, maybe there has to be a licensing issue in the East Coast that's not being
Maybe.
pushed. So
Probably more of the monitoring of how much people drink. I think that's the big part of the legal aspect of it for a lot of those states up like New York and especially New Jersey. They have pretty strict alcohol rules.
yeah,
in New Jersey.
but I heard in Florida they just bill you yearly at your house because you do whatever you want in Florida.
What? That's crazy. But like, like the thing is like technology is extremely advanced. So I'm sure they can figure out like, okay, Alfred swiped his card twice, cut him off after the second or third beer. That's it. I'm sure technology is at that point where like, okay, this guy has had 32 ounces of beer. You can't use that card anymore. Obviously, I can grab another card. I can get Mrs. Beer Lover's card and use hers and, have my way. But technology is at the point where you definitely can rig up the thing where like there's a cutoff.
Like Chuck E. Cheese, you can only get one beer an hour.
I think it comes down to, honestly, the reason for everything comes down to money. It's probably just not profitable, and that's why a lot of East Coast places just aren't doing it. Because if money was so good, I'm sure they'd get into like hiring lawyers and trying to change some type of laws, but it's just probably not profitable enough.
Or it might just be like Sam said, too expensive for these little mom and pop shops.
Yeah.
Plain
You know,
simple.
is it going to pay itself on the long run? We don't know.
Just a hope, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you guys haven't ever been to the self-pour spots, do yourself a favor, go check one out if you're close enough to one, because it's worth, trying out a bunch of different beers and getting nice and sloppy while you're trying them. But that's it. Anybody else want to add anything before we end up? No?
We got it.
Cool. With that being said, this is Church of Chug. This is my last episode. Thank you, everybody. And
We'll miss you.
that's it.
The creator of Church